Hey guys, it's Kaylee from K-Books and welcome to my November wrap-up post. Even though I thought it was a slow reading month at the beginning of the month, I managed to read 10 books in November. I don't have any physical copies to show you because they're actually all ebooks, but I'm going to add the pictures later. So the first book I read was Unhinged by A.G. Howard. And this is the second book in her Splintered series. This was an arc from November, from NetGalley, because I was doing NetGalley November last month, and I rated it 5 stars. I thought it was fantastic. I'd just read Splintered last month, so I sort of read them both together, and it's without a doubt one of my favourite series. I can't believe it took me so long to actually get to Splintered, because I absolutely love Unhinged. I can't wait for it to come out. It comes out in January next year, and I just can't wait for everybody to read it because it's such a fantastic book, and I totally loved Morpheus. The next book, which was also an arc from NetGalley, was Stir Me Up by Sabrina Elkins. This is a new I think it's new adult. It might be young adult. It's a contemporary romance, and I gave it 2 stars. It was a good story, but there was just bits missing for me. It took far too long for me to actually like the characters, and that sort of brought it down, and I just didn't enjoy it as much as I hoped. I did like it by the end, which is why it got 2, but it did take until about 75% for me to actually like it. I was very close to not finishing it at all. So yeah, it wasn't really for me. The next book I read was a personal read. It wasn't an arc, and it was Johnny's Girl by Paige Toon. This is the novella that it comes after the second book in the Johnny Be Good series by Paige Toon, which is an adult contemporary chick lit book, which is, I love Paige Toon books, but it's also kind of a prequel to the young adult contemporary romance book she has coming out in January. So she's got a new adult series called Jessie Jefferson, which is sort of like a little spin-off from her chick lit series, and this is sort of what goes on in between Jessie's story starting and Johnny and Meg's finishing in the chick lit. So it sort of goes in between, and I gave it 5 stars. I absolutely loved it, but I love Paige Toon, and Johnny Be Good is probably my most favourite book from her, so I'm really excited that her young adult series is sort of a spin-off from that one. The next book I read doesn't have a cover yet. It was a beta read for Melissa West, and it's called Over the Edge, and it's a new adult contemporary romance. I absolutely loved it. I'm not going to say much about it because obviously arcs haven't gone out or anything yet, but it was fantastic. One of the best new adult books I've read, so I gave that one 5 stars. And the next I read was another personal read, and it's called No Place Like Oz by Danielle Page. This is the book that is the prequel to Dorothy Must Die, her book coming out next year. I love retellings of stuff, and The Wizard of Oz is one of my favourite stories, so I was so excited about Dorothy Must Die, and I really wanted to read the prequel, and the prequel is more like a full-length novel. It took a while to read. I was expecting it to be quite short, but I loved that it was a full-length novel because you got to get into the depth of how Dorothy went bad and what happened to make her go bad, and I loved every moment of it. It's one of my favourite reads this year without a doubt. So yeah, I gave that one 5 stars. The next book is another arc from NetGalley for NetGalley November, and it was Alice Through the Zombie Glass by Gina Showalter. This book is called Through the Zombie Glass in America, but the UK edition is called Alice Through the Zombie Glass, and this is the second book in her White Rabbit Chronicles series. I loved the first one and I was so looking forward to reading this one. I gave it 4 stars. I didn't love it as much as the first one. There were things that happened in it that are like my pet hates in series. So even though I still loved the story and I loved the characters, and some things happened which I really hate in young adult books, so it sort of knocked down the rating by 1 star because of that. The next one was another NetGalley book, and it's Bittersweet Love by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the prequel to her upcoming Dark Elements series, and it's actually out today, so go buy it because it's fantastic. I was so excited when Harlequin Teen sort of sent me the widget for the book, and it's fantastic. It was very short, but I still give it 5 stars. Even though it was short and I wanted more, it did exactly what it was supposed to do, which was sort of introduce you to this world of the gargoyles and everything, and I just cannot wait for White Hot Kiss now. I really need it, like, now. I can't wait for it. The next one was also a NetGalley book, and it's Inhuman by Kat Falls. This is the first in a new series, Fetch series, and it's a young adult dystopia series. I absolutely loved it. It's so fantastic. It's so fresh and new and unique, and I loved how when you read a lot of dystopia, you can see little overlaps, and you know, you can see, well, this reminds me of Hunger Games, or this reminds me of this, or anything like that. To me, Inhuman was completely unique. I absolutely loved it. I can't praise it enough. It's fantastic. So yeah, I gave that one 5 stars. The next one I read was also a NetGalley book, and it's Alienated by Melissa Landers. This is the first book in the Alienated series, and I gave it 5 stars. It started off a little slow for me. I really wanted to read it with it being a young adult sci-fi alien book, because after Jen's Luck series, I was really looking for that new Alien series. I loved Alienated in the end. It started off slow, so it took a little bit for me to sort of get into it. But once I did, I absolutely adored every aspect of it, and the ending literally left me with my mouth wide open. And I cannot wait for the second one in the series, because I know it's going to be fantastic. The last book that I read this month was Pawn by Amy Carter. This is the first book in the Black Coat Rebellion series, and it's a young adult dystopia. I really enjoyed it. It's so new and unique, and I loved the story of it. She gets masked and she has to take over somebody else's life. I just loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I gave it 4 stars. So there was certain things where I loved it, but it didn't take my breath away. But I think it's going to be the case where the second book is going to be even better. Because with dystopias, you often find that the first one is building up that world. So yeah, I loved it. It was really good. So I always do a top 3 books of the month. So number 3 was Alienated by Melissa Landers. I can't wait for the next one, and I think this really is going to be the next big YA alien sci-fi series. I think everyone will just love it. Number 2 was Inhuman by Kat Falls, which is the young adult dystopia first in the Fetch series. It was so unique and new, and it literally broke my heart at the end. And yeah, who doesn't love a book that gets you so involved in it that it does physically hurt at the end of the book? I loved that about it. Number 1 was Unhinged by A.G. Howard. I loved it. I love everything about that series. It's just fantastic. I don't include novellas in the top 3, which is why No Place Like Oz and Bittersweet Love isn't in my top 3. But yeah, they were my top 3, and I'm currently reading Masked by Janelle Stalder, which is a beta read, and then I'm not sure what I'll be reading, but look out for my wrap up next month, which will not only have my favourite books of the month, but it should also include my favourite book of the year. So thanks for watching. Bye!